best Apex Legends players in the world against each other in the biggest Apex Legends tournament to date. Graceful, game 1 out of the way in the last series of the group stage had me riveted. That was a fascinating game to watch. It did huge things for Team Liquid, now pushing them into the top 20 teams of the group stage overall.
Yeah, I mean, huge plays overall, and what's making me happy is these teams that people have thought, have lost their touch for the moment, or where have they been, they're showing up now. And that's the most important part, because at the end of the day, you want every team to do good. Every team can't do good. And so many teams are missing, those 2-3 games. But since everybody is throwing their hands in now, it depends on who's actually making it through. But to be completely fair, I think that some teams have shown more consistency than others. Some teams now, however, have switched up their strategy. And that's the biggest change I'm seeing, especially in Ninjas in Pajamas. Sure, you might have complained that, they overpicked and they got punished for it, but the fact that they hunted for kills, they valkyried it into a great positioning. We didn't see that before.
Yeah.
What we saw before was straight into the zone that they thought it would end. It didn't end there. They got punished on rotate. Now, however, they're just making individual mistakes. That's something anybody can do, and I'm sure they can keep up this tempo, and I'm looking forward to that from other teams as well.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of teams still have a ways to go. Well, it was Team Liquid in this game that have jumped up the leaderboard. Actually, a team like Dreamfire, who was sitting at 36th earlier, have only moved up 1 spot after that game. They're just ahead of GHS Professional, who now have that 36th spot. And I'm looking at teams like Furia, who sit around the cutoff in 21st right now. Even Envy, ExoClan, Stallions, Oblivion, who all sit in that 26th to 29th finish.
Yeah, I'm mainly looking for EXO for me personally, because, having competed with them before and also seeing several iterations of them, I'm always rooting for my friends, and that's just how it is really. They are, however, strictly on a couple of points away right now. They've been struggling a little bit. However, I've seen the light at the end of the tunnel, because they have been in power spots. How they lose the power spot, however, could always be due to 3Ps, could be to, timing adjustments and stuff like that. But as long as they acknowledge that and they keep getting into the spots initially, they could always work things out, because as long as you get there at some point, it's all about repetition, really.
There are always opportunities for teams to jump ahead forward and, like you said, grab that light, figure out where it lies. Oblivion, Stallions, I mean, very clearly are teams that I'm looking at, and Oblivion has caught my eye since day number 1, being an LCQ qualified team, even being in the conversation as a team that could be qualifying into winner's bracket is a fantastic achievement for them. Looking a little further down, of course, we do still have teams like Shadow 3690, who I'm very interested in seeing the development of over the next couple of days, because as you've talked about, Graceful, there's a big part of this game that is going to be just feeling a little bit random sometimes, because it is a battle royale and sometimes things feel out of your control. And one of the most important skills that you can learn as a professional player in Apex is recognizing that while something may have felt out of your control, that there's almost always something else that you can do, a measure that you can take earlier in the game, a way that you can present yourself in the game to other players that puts you in a better position where things are more likely to work out in your favor.
Yeah, and that's really the thing, that there's only so much, like in a BR game, there's only so much you can do, but there's a lot to do. And this is the thing, a lot of the times, it could be something as very simple as, the zone is closing and you're about to take a fight. When you took that fight, can do a billion different things. If you take that fight too late, you probably get thirded. You take that too early, you just get poked on. It's all about the timing, really. And as you said, it's all about negating the fact of having too much RNG applied to you.
Yeah.
And this is why, when we've seen zones that are, repeated very often, that can feel very detrimental to you, because you've been practicing this one same macro and it feels very one-dimensional. When you're hitting your head against that wall several times without success, it doesn't feel very good. But when we've seen several different types of zones, when it's been ending in Scat, it's been ending Thermal, it's been ending Overlook, that's when you're happy, because you actually have different strategies, and most often than not, one of them will work. Yeah. And now we're getting here to where stuff hasn't been working for the bottom teams that are looking to see if they can secure a spot in the upper bracket, is that they're actually, we haven't even practiced these guys, but we just gotta throw a Hail Mary.
You know what's occurred to me, actually? We're seeing a lot more parity in terms of scores. We're seeing a lot more parity in terms of scores in this particular tournament so far. And a big question for me has to be whether that also has to do with the fact that we've added another map. And so we're getting less repetitive zones in the sense that it's just because we're repeating maps less. You know what I'm saying?
100%, and that's like a great feature of it as well. Adding more maps into it is my jam. And I wish we could even play more maps as well, because we do have more maps. Honestly, at this point, just put 2 of each map. I'll do that. More Apex, more fun for us. I like that. However, you know, at the end of the day, we all gotta make sure, you know, you can last throughout the whole day, because there are long days if we had unlimited amounts of maps and games.
Yeah.
But as we're seeing right now, I'm happy that we're adding additional maps, because it adds, you know, a little bit of freshness and spice to it. And that's, you know, in the end of the day, we're all here to enjoy some good Apex, and we're getting great Apex here.
We're getting the best. We're getting the best Apex. We actually couldn't get better Apex players. They were.
They're literally the best in the world.
Yeah, exactly. It is a surreal feeling when you walk into the building and you realize that actually it's not top 500. It's not every Predator player. It's literally the very top of all of Apex gathered in this building. And interestingly enough, they're going to be gathered in Thermal pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about repetitive zones at Thermal. However, I don't think this is the same as the staging side. Hopefully this pulls into Thermal. We'd add a little bit of mix to it, because, you know, the previous game, we actually didn't see too many zones playing center zones straight away. This zone teams are opting a little bit more, as we see 4 teams already in Thermal. And, you know, a few of these teams are actually on the cusp as well of making winner bracket, which is nice. I'm looking more a little bit though into other teams that struggled the first game. Would be nice to see, you know, what is happening to Alliance now after, you know, did Effect recover from that fall before, you know, straight into his doom.
Yeah. That was a rough beginning. As of right now, it looks like Alliance over at Climatizer have at least rotated out of the bad mojo zone, and Dreamfire and Oblivion were trading shots just below them. I am curious how deep this zone will pull into Thermal, as I want to touch on that really quick. Cloud9 actually made a very nice rotation to this donut building that I quite like. I know that reading zones is more your forte than mine, Graceful, but this looks like a zone that should be pulling into the Thermal side of things, perhaps a little deeper into Thermal than zones we've seen previously.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of the thing. At the end of the day, you just have to make your best assumptions and, you know, your guess about the zones, because there's only a few amount of selective active zones, and if if you play ranked a lot, or if you scrim a lot, you're actually gonna see a majority of the zones for the moment, because until a big patch hits or a seasonal patch hits, you're gonna be very happy to see new fresh zones. But all of these players have been scrimming for the longest of times, playing ranked for the longest of times. They know it like the back of their hands. It's a little bit hard to pinpoint exactly where it will end, you know, right on the millimeter. But as long as you have the general direction, you always have macro plan for that, and we're gonna see what happens next.
Supernova got a nice plan moving out through Harvester, and oh yes, they get the nice benefit of finding an untouched black, or I guess it was touched, it was probably used.
It was
time, but it's untouched to them, unsullied. This, however, very sullied, is going to get very dangerous inside this tunnel. Dreamfire jump right on top of Enderforce 36, but Enderforce 36 are giving it to him hand and foot. Synap gonna slide around with this Nemesis, but Dreamfire's rat play ends in flames.
You know what the craziest part is? Synap heard that and pre-queued, and that's what saved them from getting ambushed, and they won off of Newcastle Q. That's the absolute craziest thing I've seen, as 100 Thieves also is fighting FaZe already here, getting 2 downs and 1 third, if not 2. No, that was crazy, actually. Enderforce 36 awareness saying, hey, they're probably still here. I heard 1 footstep, I put that Q down, immediately cracked 2 people and win the fight. That was huge.
It was completely game-changing, of course, for the squads. We do have a brief pause. I want to talk about FaZe, since we just had a moment of fighting that we didn't quite catch with them. But with them now having lost a member, FaZe, big underperformer of the tournament so far for me. This is a team that, I mean, I have expected a lot from at LANs previously. Yes, they've never had this crazy performance at LAN, but they've certainly had notable highs, at least in the group stage. And on the group stage right now, they're sitting at 38th. In fact, checking in on their average points, they average 3.3 points per game over on World's Edge, 3.5 on E-District, and it's not looking good for the first 2 maps of the series.
It isn't looking good, and the the biggest thing that I would say is that they haven't mixed things up enough yet. They're sticking to the one-dimensional plan that they had. That might, like, once again, we talked about this before. You gotta adapt to the lobby, and if what they're adapting to is finals lobby, which is a lot like this is a mistake a lot of teams do, because when they hear LAN, they assume it's the exact same as final lobbies. But I keep telling people, it's layers to everything. Scrims is different from online tournaments. Online tournaments is different from group stages. Group stages is definitely different from lower bracket. Winner bracket is very equal to finals, I'm not gonna lie, because people are now feeling a lot more confident, coming into winners bracket.
Winners bracket or winners finals?
Yeah, winners finals.
Winners finals, okay.
Yeah, and in the end, but like I said, lower bracket in general, very different, because everybody is scared of going home and they want to make it to the end. And finals, the highest level of competition there is in the world, is probably how most people are practicing for.
Yeah.
But when you do that strat at different stages of the tournament, it's going to have varied results. And what we can see right here is that FaZe has been struggling, very hard, I would say, in this tournament so far. They can still come back, but it's definitely been a rough start for them. What I'm looking to, however, right now is, even though they're eliminated already, and also, Dreamfire got eliminated early on with that rat play, I'm still looking to, my bias here with EU, which is, EXO, Ninjas in Pajamas, etc. And I just want to see people pull through, because Alliance I'm already feeling confident about. But the most team I'm actually looking forward to, my number one for this game specifically, is 100 Thieves.
I think 100 Thieves is actually a very nice call. I'd love to discuss that more, but while we have our players in a break, what I'd love to hear from is actually Lace, because Lace caught up with MT a little bit earlier, and I've been dying to hear what MT thinks behind the scenes.
Lace here back in the Players Lounge. I have MT from Shopify Rebellion. They're doing great in the series so far. Now, MT, we're getting to the end of the group stages. Is there anything that you're going to adjust moving forward in the competition?
At the moment, we're pretty much planning to keep everything exactly the same. We've been starting hot in each group, like picking up a lot of points early and then kind of like dropping off towards the end. So this last group, we're just going to make sure to finish strong the whole way through.
Yep, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now, what team is your biggest competition?
Definitely Falcons. Got a pretty big rivalry with them. Me having teamed with Reese, Ben and Kyle, and then Zanyu having teamed with Reese. So definitely want to beat them.
Yeah, something to prove against the Falcons. Now, with this meta, it's a little crazy. What character do you want to delete from Apex?
Gibby and Newcastle for sure. Just get rid of the bubbles and the shields. It's so boring to play against.
Yeah, wants to get rid of the chaos. But this has been MT from Shopify Rebellion. Best of luck for the rest of the competition.
Appreciate it.
It's a controversial take. That is a very controversial take. Taking out Newcastle and Gibby, I mean, they just got here, Graceful.
No, we cannot take them out. I get it. It's now fun to fight against 59 different bubbles and Newcastle Qs and Newcastle walls and the rest, perhaps. Yes, okay, that might not be fun currently. However, we also have to remind ourselves that Gibby has had only 2 metas, really, and I love Gibby personally. Newcastle hasn't had that much just yet, so I'm happy to see him in play. I think perhaps we could tone things down, but downright delete? Oh, hell no.
Nah. Yeah, I can't help but agree. I'm actually really refreshed to be seeing this meta, and even more so, watching how people's play of Newcastle especially has changed so much since earlier. Gibby actually gets played in a very similar way to when Gibby used to be meta. He's basically, 2-button wonder. But Newcastle, on the other hand, has really evolved since Newcastle came out and people started trying them in pro play. I mean, you used to have people playing Newcastle sort of like they played Rampart, just with an extra little mobile shield. And now we're seeing people play Newcastle in very aggressive, very dynamic ways where he can be a support to Gibby, but he can also be a huge initiator for your team. He can be the thing that saves you, and he can be the thing that shuts down the enemy's defenses.
Yeah, most definitely. I think it's really refreshing overall, and I'm happy to see changes. I feel like at some point we are also, we gotta mix things up. Like at the end of the day, are we just gonna have the old OG Wraith meta? Is that what we're gonna have the whole time? Watson Wraith. It could be half Gibby Watson. We had as well. We had several different metas, and I think it's fine as long as we don't get stuck into it for too long. I think people, we don't want to see it for several months. We want to see it for a little bit, and then we can, change on about it. But speaking of meta, personally, I like seeing Mirage. We've seen a little bit of Mirage. I've been talking about Mirage meta since way back, 5 reworks back pretty much, and I'm happy to see him. Even though he only got picked a little bit, Loba seeing a little bit of light as well makes me happy.
Yeah, Mirage is actually very fun. I think in a very good place right now because when I saw the patch notes for Mirage, I went, oh my lord. Mirage just got so much utility pumped right into the character that surely everyone is going to pick Mirage. And we actually had a little while in scrims just before this event where people were everyone was trying Mirage. They were like, well, we may as well give it a go. He can do literally everything, and he can go it was a whole thing. And while we're not seeing him picked as much, I think that Mirage is actually in a very good place where he offers an incredible amount of utility as a support, has this niche strength, but also isn't oppressively picked, isn't used by everyone, maybe because there are stronger options and it's not so much a lack of strength in Mirage, but what I am really enjoying the fact that we can have a character that is so niche, that is clearly so powerful, but also isn't a mandatory pick, likely because the slightly selfish part of his kit that is his ultimate.
Yeah, I mean, I like it a lot as well. We gotta have picks that are niche in a way. Like, at the end of the day, if we talk about what's a perfect game, right? For me, that's every character being viable. You could pick and play every character and still have some sort of success with it, and not needing to pick something to get, you know, a boost of 5x the success. And when we get to that point, you know, I'll be happy. But as of right now, it's very hard due to the fact I'm happy with Mirage, and I'm happy with Loba seeing the light. But we're almost getting to the part of the game where power creeping is actually setting into the game right now. Some people's kits are so overstacked that now to bring up other people, which everybody should be in a good place, you gotta give them even more overloaded stats. And at that point, you know, it's gonna be hard to scale everything down, because once you hit a certain point of being too powerful, even though you get scaled down and it's fine, well, in theory it's fine, you kind of feel like you know, your legs got cut off and it doesn't really feel that good. You're like, oh no, my character is actually not feeling that good right now. Like, you know, my friend, very die-hard Path main, right? Loves Path. He got hit with the nerf, which is, you know, it is what it is. He got hit with the nerf. But then, you know, you look on the other side of the grass and you see a Loba who, oh wait, Loba gets 2 Qs on lower cooldown than what I have, which is why we nerfed me? Oh wait, Loba also gets a Bangalore speed buff after the Q. Oh wait, he also gets a free cell? You know, at that point, I get why people are getting frustrated. All I'm saying is, you know, at the end of the day, patches will happen, things will balance out. It all depends on when. I'm sure it will happen. We just gotta stick in there, really.
I mean, the cycles are a big part of Apex Legends.
Yeah.
Learning new legends as they become hot and get quite powerful, and then learning how to pivot away from them when the meta starts to shift, whether it be because of changes in their own power or utility that's been added to others. Speaking of utility, let's talk a little bit about some of the ridiculous numbers that we have hit during the course of this tournament. Now, the most reasonable is probably Valkults. Valkults have been pretty chill. 87 of them, I don't think that's a wild number. Everything else on this screen right now, pretty freaking high.
Absolutely crazy, I'm not gonna lie. GB bubbles almost reaching 4,000 bubbles played already, as well as ramp covers being almost 14,000. Yes, you have a lower cooldown. Yes, you have more stacks, so it makes sense in the whole gram of schemes. But when I'm thinking about the raw amount of bullets I need to go through 14,000 ramp covers, it is not juicy.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a hugely utility-oriented meta. Everybody using their abilities constantly. It's not about saving them. But utility does not just come in the form of abilities, also in the form of grenades. And we did talk about this a little bit earlier, Graceful, where thermites aren't really nearly as favored as other types of grenades because their utility does tend to be a little bit more niche. The area denial aspect of a thermite can be accomplished with a lot more oomph in a lot of cases by arc stars and frags.
Yeah, I mean, thermites in general is like the most value thermites you can have. I wouldn't even say space denial in general. It's like when they're behind a box and that's their only cover. It's like if they step out of the box, they die to you shooting them. That's when the thermite is best, because you kind of have to sit, like you have to sit in the flames essentially. But if we're talking about pretty much every other single scenario, you know, except when we talked about thermites doors, when, you know, thermites could burn through doors, right? Frags and arcs will give you a higher opening, either that be you know, a Skynet into 100 crack or a arc stick at best case scenario, but even just the arc stun is most likely enough to get you killed in most scenarios.
You know, thermites actually might be, now that I'm thinking about it, a little bit underpowered in this meta specifically.
Yeah.
Because in most other metas, sitting still to res is much more common, and so thermites are a lot more punishing. If you land them on somebody who's resing, they just have to stop. Whereas if Newcastle's resing you and somebody lobs a thermite, it might tick Newcastle, but he just walks away.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely the case. I think in the case of resing, standstill, all nades just blast you. Guys, I'm about to start the match soon. I hope I'm doing my best, guys. I'm clicking my button. I'm doing my best right now. I know we're all waiting for it, but while we're waiting, I think the zone is gonna end. I think the zone is gonna end. Please let this be my ranked ending. It's gonna end by the lava, closer to the choked mountain hill is where I would like it to be. I really don't. I know you said southwest of thermal. It would pull deeper.
Only slightly.
Only slightly.
I'm not talking anything
so by
crazy.
The dome? Are you talking by the dome? Are you talking by the island? Are you talking about by the boxes? Triple pins? Which one are you talking about?
I'm talking by the bubble building, or the dome.
Yeah, the dome. Yeah. Okay, by the dome.
Like a little bit, even over by where Envy were at on that little house. I could see that. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm giving you all these random. I'm just saying random words. You're like a platform. Yeah, what's a platform? But yeah, I have my own call out for everything. That's why I keep it. Yeah, where Envy was staying essentially. Yeah. By the building above the lava. Yes, I like that building a lot.
Yeah. Although actually, now that I'm thinking of it, I don't know what practical purpose. Sorry. I'm getting off track. I'm daydreaming about the practical purposes. I actually did want to ask you a question though, because when we were talking about character balance, you had mentioned one of your sort of ideal game states would be one where all characters are viable, and I wanted to talk to you about that because that comes with some baggage, right? Like whether a character is viable is going to be different across competitive and casual play. So what does viability of a legend mean to you?
It means that when you pick them, it's not, I would say, okay, I think, viable, you can make anything viable. I could, I've done solo to pred with Mirage. I've done solo to pred with pretty much every character at this point. But mainly what I'm talking about is characters that are unique enough to where you want to pick them for a kit or an item or ability that only they have. One of the biggest things that I personally don't like, right, is when Lifeline had fast res. You remember back in the day, Lifeline has fast res. And then they gave that to Gibby in the Gibby bubble. I don't like that because they do the same thing, right? And I want characters to be unique in a way that only they bring that. So I don't like it when we have an offensive character that does an ultimate that explodes, and then you have two more that does an offensive ability that also explodes. I want them to be picked for that their one, even if it's one reason, one ability, just for their own reason behind it. And then for that character or ability to be viable enough to win games with, which is most characters are.
Yeah, I mean, it is something that I think the game is ever striving towards, and that aspect of individuality is something that Apex Legends really rewards. In fact, it's been rewarded for a couple of teams who have been able to stand out as individuals, and to me, one of the biggest teams that's been able to stand out as an individual is the members of Oblivion, who I've actually called out on a couple of occasions for being an LCQ team, who have come in and actually very much wowed me during the course of this tournament. So I'd love to hear a little bit more from them. I know that Ryan sat down with Oblivion earlier, so let's go ahead and hear.
What's going on, people? I'm here with Blinkster from Team Oblivion, and man, it's been a rough ride for you guys already. 15th yesterday in that first match, and then of course today, stepping it up into 6th position. What kind of changes has the team made to do that massive jump? It's an amazing feat.
So the big thing is confidence. So this is my first LAN, right? So my first block, I didn't have any confidence, and I didn't know what I was going into. But going to second block, my confidence jumped to another level, and it was more of not staying on the edge of zone, and more of actually rotating to zone and taking the extra risk, and not be scared to make the moves that I do in scrims. I didn't want to make not make any mistakes in my first block. So that's mainly why it was, yeah.
Can totally understand that. Obviously a lot of pressure, big tournament, Year 4 championship, this is where it all counts. So some of the stuff that you might regularly do, you might second guess yourself and things like that. Did you experience that yesterday?
Yeah, exactly. So there was a lot of plays I wanted to make in the back of my head, but I didn't want to actually execute them in the stress of the moment, because a mistake can cost you a game. So I was trying to minimize the mistakes, but at the same time that I did some extra mistakes, because that's
so perfectly understood. I think everyone watching this will be completely aware of how important this is for you guys. And coming into this team, being the sole representative from Canada, How does it feel? Is there an extra pressure there? Is there more on the line for you personally? Talk to me a little bit about that.
It feels good. I think I'm like the first French-Canadian player to like ever attend an ALGS LAN, so that's definitely like a big thing for me. I know like there's like a lot of people back home like watching, so that means a lot. But yeah, I mean, being like the first French-Canadian, like the 2 only Canadians in my team here at the event, definitely means a lot, and it's definitely like a big thing for me, and I think for the country, yeah.
Absolutely incredible stuff from you guys. Wish you the very best of luck in your next game, and hope it all goes well.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks so much.
That is a fantastic part of watching Oblivion succeed, is getting to watch another Canadian succeed. Graceful. You can feel the patriotism, I'm sure.
Yeah, I can. You know, even coming from Sweden as well, a lot of top athletes come from Sweden, and I'm always feeling the same way, representing something. But the biggest thing I can connect to is not wanting to make mistakes on the big stage, which I completely understand, and that's why scrims are there. You gotta make your mistakes in scrims to learn, but enough of making mistakes. We're heading straight back into the action. This is what we've all been waiting for. I'm sorry, guys. We're here now. Let's go.
There's always pressure, the pressure to perform, and funnily enough, right now, FaZe unfortunately did leave us just before the pause, and now it looks like Stallions may be on the way out as well. TSM taking an engagement with them. That's going to be just north of Thermal Station, right outside of Mirage Etoile.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see where it goes now. I'm still looking for zones moving on. Hopefully, we see some action coming in hot soon, because a lot of teams, as you see, you know, out on the outskirts on the map are opting for mid-speed right now. We actually, like, throughout this whole tournament, we've seen this change from straight up center zone to straight up edge for a while. We saw, I think I saw one game with like 10 teams on edge, to now we're seeing majority of the team playing mid-speed. It's so cool to see, because this is also considered the meta as well. It's so cool to see it consistently defining itself over and over in a way of, you know, people trying to copy other successes. But not only that, seeing Valkyrie a lot more played now as well, because people are now even more scared of getting held in chokes and getting gate kept in specific areas. I like Valkyrie a lot. She's solid.
Yeah, I mean, as other teams sort of figure out your rotations, there's almost no better legend to be able to get dynamic with. This is a lot of Rampart walls in one place, I will say. DSM hanging out in this area that we mentioned to the north of Thermal over by Mirage Etoile are doing well to at least barricade themselves in here for now. And with the elimination of Stallions, we'll be moving down to 17 squads. It looks like things are getting a little darker for the team, but I'm hoping they can hang in there.
That was probably about 7,000 of the 14,000 walls right there. I saw all of them, and they were breaking left and right, but yeah, at least they're settled in right now. Furia coming in with the rotate mid-speed again. So, you know, we're seeing something of mid-speed again, like I said. I like that a lot. They're already double purple. A lot of these teams that we've been spectating has already been on blue. They're already double purple, feeling confident. Not too many attachments, but they're making sure they want to see the next zone before they move ahead. And now as the zone popped and boom, they see that the zone is going more towards Thermal. Zone actually pulling maybe a little bit south, even towards the platform, the platform by the lava side of Thermal. We're seeing some interesting stats here.
Yeah, nice to see right the line where Furia is at. 85 points for the team that we are currently on board with at 21st overall, and just a sliver, a hair's breadth away from making it into the first round of winners. Now, Disguised are following right up behind them, Zero Tenacity as well, but it's Furia who really have the opportunity in this game to take the big leap into the winners bracket.
Yeah, big leap to do indeed. Everybody is looking to climb up that ladder to end in the 20th or above spot after this series. And it's looking good for a lot of the teams that have been underneath 20th right now.
Look what Alienware took out NRG. Meanwhile, I gotta be looking at NRG in the next couple of games as well, because they have been another underperforming team. 33rd so far, or rather 33rd at the start of these games on the leaderboard. And at the moment, I know NRG can reach quite a bit higher even as they step forward, but these games have not been it for them as the pressure has been ratcheting up.
As we see EXO, they're amping. I don't even think they're going to stop. I think they're going to keep fighting. They're just making sure to reset properly and say, hey, next try, we're going to push up. Do you have any nades? Okay, we're working our way up now. I can see Swinny right now communicating so much for a bubble play. With the bubble play, they're moving up the stairs right now behind the ramp wall, getting a thirst, or getting it down straight away. And I think Furia's getting engaged from behind, but they're just bunkering up, getting shot through the balcony, actually. I think they're fine.
That was a very good, in fact, it was the only bubble. I was worried about Exoplan's push up those stairs because in most scenarios, if you bubble that and it lands on the stairs, you've got a free angle with Sheila.
And we see Ishidan right there, the unbelief. I don't know how he even got out. Like, did he try to engage? Like, did he flank? Or why did he leave his teammate alone?
Yeah.
As of right now, though, it's a solo. He's probably going to try to recoup that later on, but it's going to be a little bit hard.
Yeah, I think that was just sort of a... We only have 2 people, and so we're going to play different places and see what happens.
Let's just play for our lives.
Yeah, it's tough, especially once you're in Thermal, where you don't really have the option to rotate out of here anymore, especially not with a team like Supernova looking over everyone. So this charge rifle shot connects, and it does another one, and it's a huge knock on Hakis. I don't think Supernova will be able to finish it. They're trying their best.
Yeah, I mean, 2 super solid charge rifle shots, and they're actually seeing a res as I think they got the res.
We're going to keep our eyes on it. I'm watching the mini-map to see.
And there it is.
That's go next. Is it?
It is
It
go
is,
next.
okay.
They got the res.
For a second, I saw Exo pop up on there, and I was like, huh? What is happening here? Now, Alliance playing underneath the scaffolding right now have placed their bets in Thermal, and actually, I don't mind this. This is a pretty frequent zone pull as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is a zone pull. Nowadays, it used to end on top of this. Doesn't happen anymore. You know, they changed that so it doesn't end as much on top of buildings as it did in the past. We're gonna see Alliance having super solid rotate options here. It mainly comes down to whether or not other teams are gonna be YOLO landing by evacing to get past chokes, etc. Because we have seen a little bit more about plays, right?
Yeah.
And these are the 2 most common spots to land at with evacs and battles, because that's one of the areas where you pretty much can always survive.
Yeah, and if you are playing your cards right, if you are showing presence, teams like Alliance and Furia can keep those other squads on top of them and coexist to a degree. It's very difficult because the teams will always be aware of each other, will always want to fight, but you can hold that off if you are a team that can execute at a very high level for a long time. Now, Enterforce 36 have just made their way into the zone, but they're very low. They don't have a whole lot of time on the next ring, and they've got to make their way through one of 2 chokes. One through staging, the other straight into Thermal, but one goes through 100 Thieves, and the other goes through Shopify Rebellion.
I'm not gonna lie, Enterforce 36 has me keeping my eyes on them due to the fact that they had that awareness in the tunnel, reacted accurately with that Newcastle Q into the straight 3v3 bubble. The fact that they were about to get pretty much insta-killed crossing that corner of the car, that Q saved them, and they actually turned the fight on them. I'm keeping my eyes on them because right now they're feeling themselves.
Yeah, I mean, Enterforce 36 currently sitting in 15th, so they are in a great spot. They're likely going to the winner's bracket.
Yep.
What's really interesting to me is that they are not actually that good of a team when it comes to this map specifically. Enterforce 36 averaged 4.8 points per game on World's Edge, but it's actually on the new map that we're playing, on E-District, where things get really crazy, where Enterforce 36 jump up to 14.5 average points per game.
Yeah, they've had big games on that map indeed, so, you know, they have the power to close it out. It just remains to be seen if they can on this map, because they are also very high up.
That's an old school spot for Shopify Rebellion 2E playing Cloud9. That is an old school Gibby jumping on top of you. Go next. They give it right
back.
to him.
They came back with the reset, and now they're taking out Cloud9 for the dome house, really. And I like that, you know.
Cloud9, who were in one of the better spots, and now go next. Remember, they've got Loba as well. They've got a fortified building. You really can't achieve anything if you just believe hard enough.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, and res your teammates.
Believing hard enough is what 100 Thieves is doing right now as they're evacing currently into Thermal, and they actually just noticed that they're landing on a team. They're getting shot from up high on Thermal, with the charge rifle bubbling straight down as the Shadow is on the opposite side of this platform.
Shadow 3690 were also not super pleased with that. They saw this team landing on them and went, you know what? We're just going to bubble as well. We don't want to mess with this. We don't want any attention thrown our way. So 100 Thieves get to stabilize for now. But these 2 teams clashing is almost certain because even as of right now, 100 Thieves still have not positioned themselves in the next zone as a result of where they landed. They'll have to push likely towards Alliance, and Shadow 3690 will have to do exactly the same thing.
And this is the thing, we actually see the next zone already in the map right now, and Alliance just went from a super solid spot to a kind of scary spot because they have to decide now, are we going to try to gatekeep and also get thirded by Furia on the left, or are we going to fight Furia early for their spot and then gatekeep everybody coming in? it's going to be a tough scenario, but Go Next Furia looking super solid right now. E36 needing to take a fight because I don't believe they can evac, even if they have one, which they do. Valko potentially they could make happen. Depends on if the Sheila is nearby or not.
Yeah, and as of right now, we at least know that TSM is nearby, and their Sheila has been very, very accurate throughout the course of these games. The last 2 days, Verhulst has been a really reliable player, has put a lot of time into Rampart, you can tell, especially with the mobile minigun. But right now, TSM actually move up onto this height. Again, not in zone, but maybe a little bit more flexible of a spot for TSM than they had earlier.
Yeah, and we can see here as well, EXO and Go Next surviving together in the next zone and the next zone, so they're feeling comfortable setting up here. Hopefully being able to stay together. E36 takes the ears as they are Valk-ulting right now. They made it out alive without getting Sheila down, which is the most important part. And they also have the perk on Valkyrie. They see where every team is. Where can we land right now? We're probably just landing on the opposite side of things now, where there's actually 3 teams here landing straight. And coexisting here is gonna work out fine actually, because nobody's playing triple bin just yet.
That was a pretty nice slam.
Yeah.
I know some teams will go for that sort of last minute, but to see them do that so early and with such confidence, very, very nice play by Enterforce 36. Still a lot of options. You do want to wait until you take height either on the donut building or elsewhere. If you're Supernova, you got to be thinking about how you're going to drop down, likely onto 100 Thieves, who are starting to make their way in through the center. Newcastle wall slammed down by 100 Thieves, but they've still got a team at their back. Zone's closing in. TSM are starting to move on in across the lava. Inside, Reps dips into just a little bit of cover, jumps back onto the lava in the middle of a Gibby ult, and this could be TSM's last moments alive in this game. But right now, they're not being focused in by anyone. Let's see how they fare. TSM likely going to get cooked in here. Zap is sitting on the lava, but he manages to pop the bubble just in time, getting the res. TSM have got just a little bit of time to stabilize. I don't know how they're going to stay alive here, Graceful.
They're actually managed to stay alive due to the fact that that small metal bar right there, you can stand on that without taking burn damage. So they're sitting right there hoping, please don't shoot our little wall.
Oh.
And they get nade spammed and shielded out. They're most likely gonna fall down here as they get eliminated by Ken from up top with the Spitfire. That looked great.
It was a creative place to play, but unfortunately Supernova are on high ground. And I mean that is one of your many problems with that position.
Yeah, I mean, and we're seeing, the zone has moved away from these guys on the southern side. They're all gonna have to move in 10 seconds, as we see here. Crazy Raccoon looking to poke out Liquid Alienware actually by the compound. Shooting out their evac as well is really rough. I think it's only one guy shooting it actually. Yes, indeed it is. They did get a down, and now they're looking to just slow them down so they can walk in and hopefully gatekeep something or playing from the side. But as we know as well, there's several teams in front of them.
Alliance have moved onto the scaffolding. This is big, as it means they're now sharing space where Furia used to be. Furia have moved on very quickly, but Oblivion are still around this scaffolding as well, meaning that Alliance cannot rest easy yet. They're looking across the lava at 100 Thieves, who have set up a bubble in the meanwhile. Crazy Raccoon in no man's land have nothing to play and are going to have to set up rampart walls in the middle of this bubble. That is a huge takedown by Obli, though, as Effect is going to fall, being the first part of Alliance to go down. Liquid Alienware meeting their end as well.
Effect actually feeding Face, running straight into that bubble as he ran past Oblivion as his other 2 teammates started fighting Oblivion, ran straight into Raccoon and died. Crazy Raccoon, however, gets the reset into the next bubble, and now they're just playing their spot because they are indeed in this zone. Oblivion, however, taken, moving on Alliance, and now they force them out, and Crazy Raccoon is getting pinched, forcing their second bubble again because they had it back again. Getting a reset, what happens next after this bubble is gonna be very tough.
So much of this is on Obli's shoulders right now. Having to stabilize for Crazy Raccoon, be the threat that they need with this rampart. Just now wants to peek over, wants to finish Oblivion, and is going to send it on in. Obli taking with his friends to the front lines as Sangjun goes down. Crazy Raccoon seem to have done enough damage. They're gonna double jump into the middle of this, but the bubble fight, they're losing it inside the Newcastle shield. Obli is lost in the sauce. Everyone, Crazy Raccoon goes down. And Oblivion will follow them as Shopify Rebellion come in for the third party with Furia.
Furia came in very late. They played passively for the longest of time, only to pick the absolute perfect timing to 3P. Racking up kills right now, putting down the bubble. They have no clue that Hakis is still alive on top. but they are racking up points right now. They're actually in the top 20, still fighting Rebellion on the opposite side south, and now they're just making sure they're staying alive because the next zone is in Furia's favor.
Shopify Rebellion very immediately disengaging to the outside of this as well. They're letting Furia take the center spot. Shopify Rebellion wanting not to be focused by anyone, but looking at that high ground that is so powerful, they're going to try and take it themselves, denying this. And it Furia look like they might go down, but MT gets traded out. Up goes Koiful, down goes Koiful, and it is very risky for Shopify Rebellion as Furia have had enough and come down to finish what Shopify Rebellion started.
Madness said, you want uppies, I want downs. He dropped straight on their forehead and pumped 2 of them straight down, and even gets a reset. I'm actually surprised Hakis didn't join that fight. That was the absolute perfect opportunity for him to 3P. Now he's just praying that, please, nobody peek my lava spot, because if you do, I am forced to fight, but at least he has Bubble. Go Next and EXO still on top of each other, as they have been for the past 5 minutes.
I mean, there is a pretty good chance that nobody looks at Hakis. There is a very good chance that nobody looks at him.
100%.
I love that Keon is able to hold on to this high ground right now. It's huge real estate, but they've got another team zipping up on them. We've seen this before. Shopify Rebellion tried it once. Can you succeed where they failed?
What is happening? It is 9 people shotgun fighting.
Sweetie cooks them all with the Sheila and now has high ground and every possible defense. E36 underneath. Furia are down. 4 squads left. Alliance still with the Rat, and Enterforce 36 on the low ground are swinging with Mastiffs.
Trades are happening right now. Alliance can still win this game after Solar Rat. And no, as he gets found out by EXO, they take him out. EXO still in the fight for
EXO's game.
And EXO is taking the win.
EXO dominate that high ground push. They jump down onto the low ground, and nobody graceful stands in their way.
Nobody saw that 9-man evac Sip Eater on top of the tower. But EXO, I don't know if they were first, if they were the 9th player, but they made it up there. They cleaned out the fight, even got the reset, even somehow found the Rat as well, and then won the fight against the last team, taking home the game. That was huge. Going from a, we're in the center zone, we tried to fight Go Next and got a wipe there, almost a wipe there, made it under them, stayed there for about 5 minutes, and then the full-on action came out. I don't know how many kills they racked up, but that will definitely put them, in the range of making it still.
Yeah, I mean, to start this series, EXO were in 28th, which was not out of the realm of possibility for how they'd be able to qualify into the top 20. As of right now, yes, they've still likely got a little ways to go, but this game has done them a huge favor. Their average is 5.8 points per game on World's Edge, and now they've got 12 kills on top of the points that they managed to accrue through placement. That's 24 points in a single game of World's Edge.
Yes, and I think that actually puts them on the cusp of making it. If they haven't already made it, we don't know where the average is going. Is it top heavy? Is it low heavy? Is it just about even? I think that they're pretty much set to make it now, and I'm so happy for them because they needed that. They've been having a rough start, but they came back. Sometimes all you need is a little bit of reps, make it in and get warm, and then you're feeling yourself.
Yeah, Enterforce 36 also pretty impressive showing that game. Yeah. They did play a little more quietly, but I'm remembering fondly the jump under the Valkyl that they had that took them right underneath the donut building where EXO Clan was playing. That was a very smart move from them, and it'll put them into the top couple of squads, but it is really EXO's game and EXO's celebration, as they, again, haven't been averaging that many points. They've been playing consistently, but they haven't done anything crazy stylish. But this game, this was crazy stylish.
That was absolutely stylish. Full-on action. We've seen everything because now everybody's throwing Hail Marys. Nobody's really expecting anything anymore. They're like, we're just doing absolutely everything we can to fight, and I'm so happy to see all the action. Huge series results so far, right? 29, 26, 21, 21. It is actually kind of even, no?
Yeah. I mean, it's very close, and I think we've been saying that almost this whole group stage is that this is one of the closer group stages. It's probably the closest group stage that we've had throughout any LAN, because nobody is taking off ahead and way dominating any group. Noctum has been dominating today. Let's not mince our words, but we've got a lot of teams that are able to contend for top spots.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of teams have definitely been competing for that, and I'm more looking towards. At the end of the day, it's been a little bit too many games in the depth for some teams. I'm mainly looking at Shadow and FaZe currently, you're gonna need a miracle to make it into winners at this rate. But for the other sides of the things, you know, I think all the teams that needed just one solid game has had a solid game or like above average points, and they're pretty much smooth sailing from here on as long as they can put, you know, 2-3 points on each map or so.
Now, while we still may be a little ways away from figuring out who is going on to the winners bracket, we are starting to note down people who we think are notable entrants. We do have still 4 more games, as we've got E-District and then Stormpoint coming up. E-District can be really exciting. We started the tournament on it, Graceful, and now we're going to be returning on it for the last games of E-District for groups A and D. We'll be doing that right after the break.
Got a lot of blood on my hands. Now some of it is yours.
It's time.
This is where it ends. I love a dying world. Everyone deserves a chance to rise.
The truth will be known to all.
Bigger the sword, greater the ruin. Tragedy. It brings out your real character.
There's another team. Just play up here.
Play live, play live, play live.
Good. Nice. Rest. Good. Nice, good fucking shit. I'm getting, boys. Yes, sir. I'm
ready. Be careful, there's only one next to us.
I'm nading below. I'm spam nading. I'm sliding wide. Slide wide. I've got bubble
Yes,
here.
yes, yes.
On me. What a guy.
Dead.
Dead. Last guys.
On the
You've
right.
won. You've won it.
Dead.
That's
You
what
attack.
ExoClan cleaning up in that last game on World's Edge, and what a way to send them off into the next round of the tournament. The next round of the tournament that they are, in fact, set up well now to make it into winner's bracket for. They're sitting, I believe, checking it, currently at 16th, and that is a fantastic place to be. As much as it feels like it's towards the lower part of the 20 teams that'll be making it into winner's bracket, it's making it, and you're the last people to be playing. So this is a great spot for ExoClan to be. Now that we're moving into E-District, however, the challenges are changing, the scene is changing, and we're entering Enter Force 36's main map.
Yeah, we definitely are, but you know, from that highlight that we just saw with EXO, the one that takes me the most is their comps. Did you hear Joe? Slayers, I mean, I'm sorry, just calling him Joe. Slayers comps actually was super solid. The whole highlight says I'm nading down, I'm sliding wide, slide on me, I got bubble, and it's just so clean. And if they can keep that form up, I'm actually hoping to see even more dominance on the next map. But as you said, E36, it's their map coming up because they have had so much success. However, what we don't know is that due to the fact that it's been zones in their favor, or have they just been absolutely dominating? Because I believe I remember both of the zones where they were dominating were in the same area of the map.
Yeah, and you know, it raises an interesting question about E36. I know that we're going to get the chance to explore it, as it is a very serious set of games that we're about to cover, but in between all of that, you would have heard during the pause last game, likely some of the audience in the arena laughing, and I want to share why they're laughing with you, because we actually filmed a fantastic Lost in Translation style piece earlier on today, and I'd like to cue that up before we start getting into E-District and all the seriousness of it all. So let's hear about the Lost in Translation.
皆さんこんにちは、ゆきおです。今日は欧米の友達にいたずらしちゃいます。
Ori, no pero, no pet. No.
俺より
Ole yori.
Oh, yes.
Okay, hold on, give me a second. Ole yori, ole no, petto no hoga kawaii yo.
Oh,
No.
かわいいよ。
Kawaii yo.
Yes.
Kawaii
Yes,
yo.
yes.
Ole yori, ole no, petto no hoga kawaii yo.
Oh, yes. So good. This one? 優しい。
優しい。
優しいやつは
やつは
結局
結局
勝てないんだよ。
勝てないんだよ。
Yes.
勝てないんだよ。
Yes.
優しいやつは結局勝てないんだよ。
Perfect. リンゴ
Lingo
と
to
バナナ
banana
を
o
食べて
tabete
食べる
tabaru
のが
noga
好きです。
skides.
Ah, yeah.
Okay. Lingo to banana o tabete tabero noga skides.
Perfect. Good.
Ushi-san gamomo date. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, good.
Ushi-san ga momo date.
Good.
Thank you.
I teach you.
Okay.
Yes.
プリプリ
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 3枚と
3枚と
2
2
ヒットだぜ。
ヒットだぜ。
Yes.
プリプリ3枚と2ヒット
だぜ。
だぜ。
Yes, perfect.
Okay. プリプリ3枚と2ヒットだぜ。
Oh,
Is it good?
good.
Actually, Yukio has something he needs to show you.
Oh no, me?
Yeah.
Oh no. Are you proposing?
Look this. No.
Oh. Okay.
Yes.
What is it? More? Okay.
First.
Oh.
Yes.
What?
Same me.
That's what I've been saying?
Yeah, same me.
You're so funny.
Yes.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
Oh my god. Have you seen my pets?
No.
No?
But I think
Uh-huh.
you are cute.
Me?
Yes. I think.
Oh my god. Thank you so much. You're so sweet. I love you.
What is this?
Read this.
Okay. Is that what I just read?
Yeah.
Nice guys finish last.
Yeah.
It's not true.
No, true.
No.
Oh.
Yeah. In Japanese.
Oh. I didn't even realize.
食べて
Tabete is eat.
Eat. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like so confused. Like, why is there banana in here? No, you guys did a good job of like hiding it, but I was just confused. What is this?
Yeah. Same me. In Japanese.
Mumu says the gal.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I'm like 0% understanding Japanese.
This means I hit a fatty samite.
I was thinking I don't recognize any of these words. That's messed up.
Yeah,
That's messed up.
no promotion.
I gotta get you back then. Surprise.
Oh, yeah.
Graceful, I regret to inform you that after having seen that piece of content twice now, I am no closer to fully memorizing the sentence, I hit a fatty thermite, but I really, really want to learn it.
I mean, hey, you got time to practice as we're waiting for them, for all the teams to dive in, you know? Maybe we could get you a card yourself. But what I want, though, you know, you can take the card all you want. What I want is some Apex action. That's what I'm here for.
I was going to say, we have no time. Like, the match is starting literally right now. E-District begins, and it will be these teams' last visit to E-District of the group stage.
Yeah, I mean, E-District is a great map, I might add. I think so far, from seeing the tournament-based results, you know, from playing it in ranked as well, I feel like this is one of the most fair maps in sense of you never really feel that, oh, I couldn't have done anything on this map. And that sense is great. And now as we see, you know, teams are looting up really quickly, especially when you play Loba.
Yeah, and we've seen the sense of fairness that E-District provides reflected in the way that people prioritize POIs on this map, or rather I should say that they don't prioritize POIs on this map. When going through the POI draft, very often we're getting teams that leave this map to last, because you can do quite a bit with almost any position here on E-District. And so even where ExoClan are looting up right now is going to actually be very nice for them, because Loba or not, you're able to collect loot quickly and then start moving your way likely into the center of the map, as I see them moving towards Energy Bank.
Yeah, you know, a lot of teams are already rotating. I believe we saw in the top left of their map that the zone might be pulling south. And you know what's in the south, Dia? My favorite part of the map? Draft point. As we see the zone very well. It might be ending around it. I'm not saying it has to end, you know, on top of it. But draft point, my favorite part of the map, super solid ender theirs. I like it.
That's awesome. I have yet to see a like solid draft point ending on E-District, and so to get the chance, maybe, to see that now is going to be really special. Again, maybe. We don't know. The zone still has a lot to say. Secrets are yet to be uncovered. The Ninjas are starting to discern whether or not they think this is ending draft point, but right now, moving through that south end of Energy Bank, draft point is largely empty, and teams like NRG could move in there very quickly from where they're at, and even Shadow 3690 and FaZe Clan over at Humbert and Old Town.
One thing I'm looking forward to, as we saw on that map actually, teams haven't opted to rotate early yet. Is this because they're not able to read the zone properly? Or is this because everybody has just decided to go mid-speed? We're not really seeing anyone, you know, go into the zone early, which is something that was completely different from before, where we saw, you know, I believe it was a few games ago where we saw 20 teams alive circle 4 on this map specifically. Will that repeat again now that everybody's on mid-speed? Or will we see the likes of World's Edge, where we saw actually 16 teams circle 1 at one point? Will they run into each other on macro now?
Yeah, I am suspecting that with less teams rotating into the zone, a big part of it is geared towards those squads that still feel like they don't have enough kills, enough points to be moving on to the next round. And so, running into each other on rotation should be less even of a coincidence and more of a completely on purpose kind of play. Even with C9, who have started rotating into zone, they are going to be doing this simply because it is what they've always done, and also because C9 are one of the teams that is in the least danger. They've done so incredibly well over the course of this tournament, over the course of the group stage, that they are well into qualification range for the winners bracket.
And now we're also seeing a couple of teams inching their way in towards draft point, towards the center of the zone, and that's a good thing to see. However, still not that many. I'm looking to see at the top northwest of the side where Liquid Alien, Rebellion, Fury, and 100 Thieves might cross paths, because if they start fighting there, 3 teams might go down, and that'll already make that from 20 Circle 4 to something completely different. Very interesting. I would like to see some action.
And knowing even that Liquid Alien won our first game, they're not safe yet. They've moved down to 21st from where they started game number 2, and they could drop even further now that they are in such danger, getting bombarded by Valkyrie missiles. There's a sliver of space that Liquid Alienware are somehow playing, and the fact that they're not finished off yet is a miracle, and the only thing that's keeping them even in the conversation for winners bracket.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. This is what I'm saying. People are changing up their pacing. They're changing up their styles a little bit. And now, some teams get caught in that. Liquid, however, you know, maybe they have been playing the same way this whole time, or just not ready when people adapt. Now, huge fight in the house.
The Ninjas, wow, going down. The Ninjas looked like they were winning that fight for a second, but Stallions swoop on in and clean them up. That was a very quick turnaround for the Stallions, and a much-needed one, as Stallions still very much in danger of moving down to the lower bracket. And as we saw just before we started this entire series, need so much more when they're looking to justify how far they've come and how much work they've put in to get here. Liquid Alienware going to go down, unfortunately. This is a rough spot for them, not unrecoverable, but very, very difficult to be in after 3 games.
Another fight on the map right now with Gonex and Crazy Raccoon. We saw this unfold because they're on the same pace of rotation. They caught each other in their macro, and now they're in a huge bumper fight with peakish trades on both sides right now. Crazy Raccoon goes down to the last player, Juice now. Can he close this game out or not, or this fight out or not? We will have to see, as he is trying for his dear life to rest, and he gets the rise.
Oh,
and Wow! Gets the rest and didn't even get the re-knock on Sang-Jun. That was a solid fight.
He broke ankles with that. Go next. Unfortunate that they fall, but Crazy Raccoon get a well-earned victory and now a well-earned res, as they'll be able to get everybody back into the game. This was Crazy Raccoon actually had a chance to succeed in our previous round, but unfortunately fell out a little bit early. So now getting Obli back, they should have plenty of time to approach this at their leisure. No one else really in the area, although I will say, Furia are rotating in through City Hall and could see this and come running.
Yeah, I mean, getting this rest, getting this a little bit of breath of fresh air of, hey, we won a fight now. We're pretty much, you know, making our way towards the top 20. I believe they're just on the cusp of securing that top 20, which is huge for them. The zone is also about to move. I think they're feeling really good. They get a little bit of space to breathe. They're gonna walk in soon. Furia also rotating in after that big pinch on poor Liquid between Shopify and Furia. Zone is about to show up soon, and we'll see what happens from there on.
I'm taking a look at those teams that are arriving a little bit late, of course. Oblivion still hanging out in Stadium at the moment, should be making their way in towards the zone very shortly, but TSM already there. Interforce 36 starting to move in through the south, and Stallions, who are still looking to ride that hope all the way, have found FaZe and are starting to take them out, but with Brick going down, Skirwy needs to find a way into this fight. Manages to clear a path, using the Newcastle mobile shield, is going to get in here, try and stick a res, gets fancy with it, takes out the Mastiff to try and clutch things up, and again is going to try resing outdoors, dragging Synetic and Nags around, but now that Synetic has the chance to reset, FaZe Clan are going to be getting everybody back, and Stallions are set very far behind.
FaZe Clan manages to get the rest and reset properly there. You know, they get the thirst and they're just looking to secure themselves now. I honestly thought they might have swung in the opposite direction, but FaZe managed to, you know, bunker up and take on that fight, as I believe Nags did a wonderful job of securing that angle to where they couldn't walk in for free through the stairs.
Yeah, really good Catalyst play. You don't see that all the time, especially with getting good value out of the spikes, but in a shotgun meta, it takes quite a bit longer to eliminate those spikes than it used to, and so just having enough time to regroup means a lot to FaZe, and it keeps them in the conversation because they really needed it.
And needed it indeed. I also needed it. It is a draft point ending, and that's what I'm here for. It's nice to see a little bit of spiciness up, spicing things up a little bit different than, you know, the typical zones we saw in Humbert Labs or at the Heights. Now we see draft point finally. Teams have noticed where the zone is going as they're rotating in. Shopify Rebellion still on edge, which is, you know, in par with their strats normally, I would say. Crazy Raccoon, Dreamfire might actually catch up onto each other. We'll have to see, but Oblivion and TSM about to hug, and hugging they are indeed.
Yeah, we're really keeping an eye on this Oblivion fight because while TSM are in a pretty good spot to qualify, Oblivion need points. They need every point they can muster, and fighting TSM is not an enviable task. They're going to eat a Gibby ultimate, our TSM, to force them to retreat. Oblivion buying a little bit of time with this huge cooldown just to be able to disengage effectively. Sitting at 29th right now. Oblivion need to climb 9 spots in 4 games.
Yeah, I mean, they might have disengaged. TSM disengaged, but they actually got punished because they got pinched by E36. Another fight is about to go down as Crazy Raccoon is sneaking up on Dreamfire. Dreamfire does know though, and they pre-nade so that, hey, you guys cannot peek us while we're trying to rotate. Will they make it through this little window? Because dropping down means guaranteed fight. It doesn't seem like they want to take that risk because they are indeed already on a good pace to make it.
That was, I mean, it was kind of a Kobe nade. Like, it didn't hit anybody, but that went straight through. Very impressive, very impressive. Now, Stallions have hit a respawn in the meanwhile, so while I was concerned about their odds earlier, now Stallions have a chance to rest, recover, and hopefully make it into the next ring, although I am noticing Shopify Rebellion are rotating right on top of them. Crazy Raccoon continuing their fight from earlier, not having given up any space at all, are going to continue pressuring down onto Dreamfire. This is currently an isolated 3v3, and I'm noticing Stallions maybe not having the easiest time up against Shopify Rebellion either.
You know, they said, hey, we did not want to climb through the window, but we will run you down through the doorway. As they Gibby ult hit a huge crack by Sang-Jun here. He does get punished by it because he got caught alone.
I hate the world turning things around, and a big push off of this Newcastle is going to force Jusna to start the res up again. Sang-Jun will be picked up. and it looks like Dreamfire and Crazy Raccoon will be taking this once again, but now in the red as everyone starts to tick down. Oblivion think about third partying, but they're going to turn tail and run, not wanting to stick in the red either, and hold out with Crazy Raccoon and Dreamfire in the zone.
This fight is taking very long. You know, I only see 2 ranges on Obli right now. If they don't have enough ranges, they can't maybe not survive the zone. We'll see here. Huge trade down here. Cracks into Sang-Yun down. And wow, there's too much action. He's hitting every single shot. Even though he goes down, they can reset this easily if nobody pushes them into the zone.
Yeah, Obli's Eva hitting different there. Crazy Raccoon did a very nice job in that fight. And Oblivion, keep in mind, are waiting for them right on the edge of this ring. So still, plenty of ways for this to go wrong for Crazy Raccoon.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, they decided to not full commit. Is that something they would be missing out on later on? They might, if they get to a point where it's 1, 2, 3 points away from making it, they will definitely look back on this VOD and say, hey, we probably should push that.
Oblivion still waiting for this to strike. Now TSM hit a respawn in the meantime, so their losses from earlier up against Stallions going to be well recovered, as TSM will be moving in from the north. Now Stallions stick a res as well, as it looks like they've returned all the way out into the western side of the map. They'll be making their way into the ring, where Shopify Rebellion, I'm sure, already are. Crazy Raccoon taking their time, though they have not got much of it anymore. Even a lot of shots from Oblivion are going to use both the mobile shield and the bubble to buy a little bit of space and time up to this hill, up to the wall, and start closing the distance. But they've got 5 seconds left on this next zone, and it is really going to start to hurt. I think Oblivion have done enough damage. Crazy Raccoon may very well fall to the ring here.
You can actually eat, you know, up to 4 ticks essentially, depending on ping as well, and still medkit through it. But one of them does go down to the zone. Depends. That's what I said before. This fight is taking too long in the zone. Yeah. Will they have enough to still kill, make it out? But since they also got held by Oblivion, it seems like they didn't have enough heals.
Justin's going to try and
he makes it. He makes it. Except that got broken, so he does not make it.
Oh no.
That's rough.
Might still walk it in?
Nah. If that didn't get broken, he would have made it, but he got broken, so...
that syringe was close, but I don't think you get to stick a second one. Really unfortunate for Crazy Raccoon, but very foreseeable as well. We saw them take that fight in the zone. They knew what they were asking for. Now Oblivion, it's a bit of a different story. They wanted to gatekeep. Now they are taking a very awkward fight in the inside, and Reed's breaking that wall, commits a big mistake, walking straight into a Sheila, and NRG eat them alive.
NRG just took advantage of the fact that Oblivion made so much noise for so long, and this is sometimes the issue with not pushing for objectives. You are looking for kills, but there's, like I said, timing. If they pushed when Crazy Raccoon went down and traded in the zone, that would have been very different. Now they took them so long that NRG was just like, hey, these guys are definitely walking in, we're just gonna punish them, and they got mopped almost immediately.
Really unfortunate for Oblivion to have gone down. They did make it up to 25th in this game so far. We'll see how much further they fall, however, as other teams start to accumulate points. Stallions, one of those squads that has shown incredible tenacity this game. They've hit 3 respawns so far and have yet to go down. Currently sitting at 28th in the overall standings. Stallions need every possible point to make it into the winner's bracket. But Envy, in trouble now, are the ones that really have to start getting cooking. They're at 17th and cannot miss out on these points.
Furia still hungry from the previous games where they were dominating for a moment before EXO took over. They are still looking really fierce. You know, almost taken out drop there, could have maybe potentially had a thirst, but Envy manages to reset. Now, as we also see as it stands, you know, a lot of these teams are actually, Envy specifically on 24th, on the cusp of making it.
On the cusp, it's so close. But you have to actually be accumulating points in this stage in order to move on. And right now, 0 kills for Envy and under pressure underneath a bridge. They've got to be finding ways not just not to die, but to create opportunities to gain points. And right now, they are running out of those opportunities and the cooldowns to survive with.
They might have managed to get inside the building, but they forget that their team actually, the team above actually had triple purple. It might be a tough fight for them, but you know, we'll have to see. 100 Thieves, however, sees E36 flies in from the sky, looking to punish them, but Gibby Bubble saves them, just you know, as we expected.
Now this is where we find out, is it that zones on E-District favor E36, or is it that E-District favors E36 because of who they are? Right now, walking in, taking 2 kills out of Supernova, Enter Force 36 are still looking like the undisputed kings of the map, but we've got 14 squads left and plenty of time for them to be uncrowned.
The fact that they actually managed to take that fight and not get thirded by the top team is crazy. EXO still under pressure, but they did wipe out Energy, looking for the 3P coming in hot against Slayers here, and they get wiped. They're not too happy with it, but you know what? Getting 3 kills and a placement isn't too bad.
And they had the win last game, so a little bit of buffer for a bad game here or there. EXO Clan still going to be on the line, still going to be wondering whether or not they qualify, and still needing the next 3 games to go in their way to really set themselves into winners. Now Envy have managed to survive. They expended a lot of cooldowns to get there. I was critical of it, but it's managed to work. 100 Thieves are picking up kills on Enter Force 36, and finishing that kill on Aimbot is going to give them a point and take a big chunk away from the team that has run E-District until now.
Synap has just been absolutely ruthless so far. Even 2-pump knocked, I'm pretty sure, after getting the last member of SNN. Now, 100 Thieves, like I said before, why didn't they push earlier? It's kind of starting to feel it right now, actually. Now Envy also joining the fray from bottom of the Furious house previously, made it into the same building, looking to see if they could have joined, but it looks to me like all of them reset.
Yeah, timing is going to mean everything for Envy right now. The fact that they choose to push out at the same time as another squad is big. Enter Force 36 going to lose another one, and this time to Envy. So another point gained for them as they retreat right back into this building. Not overextending for now, but 35 seconds as this zone is closing will force everyone to move, and that includes Envy, waiting on the Catalyst wall, looking for their next option. Out it goes, separating Synap, who is just the last member left of E36. Envy could go for this kill. They eat a small nade in the meanwhile. Find Synap. Do they send it? Do they recognize this as a solo? It looks like they do, but they're not dropping on him until now. Looking for Synap. It's the last kill. It's a whole squad, but Synap gets away.
Synap tries his best to survive and actually does as good as he can. Actually seems to look as he went out.
Are taking down Cloud9. This is big for Stallions. Cloud9 are gone, Shopify Rebellion are gone, and Stallions are still standing. Envy looking down on them, though, are causing big problems. And as Shopify go, it looks like Stallions may soon as well. Resetting on the low ground, Envy think about committing, but they don't want to overextend. They don't want to risk everything that they've got so far. Finally, Yanya drops down. Finally, Stallions will fall, but they gained a few points. Maybe, just maybe it'll mean something.
Envy has taken that opportunity to clear out their back first, even though it was a solo sign-up, you know. He got pushed out, and then after that, they just looked to clean up Stallions, who took a fight. That was super good from Envious, but now they're looking to step up on the stairs. FaZe Clan and 100 Thieves waiting on each side to pinch them. So it really goes to show where do we go next, because most of the spots are actually occupied.
For TSM, they've actually got very little pressure on them, and so this is more about executing at a high level, continuing to solve E-District, learn the tendencies of other teams than anything else. FaZe, it's a very different story. 38th so far. And with this first game on E-District, they need to make big numbers happen to even give themselves a chance of making it into winners over the next 3 games. This has to be the start of something huge for FaZe, something that has been missing from them, that killer instinct this whole tournament.
It actually is in their favor with the zone pull as well, so it comes out, you know, remains to be seen to how the game plays out, because they need to do something. They need to make a splash. Even though there's a team underneath them or not, they need to show, I want to see them show dominance above for the bridge, push other teams to fight each other. Envious into 100 Thieves, you know, Furia into TSM. They need to be the team to say, hey, you guys are not coming up on our bridge, and we're going to do everything in our power to close out this game, because if we cannot see that fire right now, it's going to be tough for them to make it all.
Envy have played so conservatively. They have been so risk-averse, and you can understand why. Sitting in 23rd, this game could be what makes the difference for them. It should be what makes the difference, and they've got just as fair a chance to win as anyone. Surviving on the inside, they finally let the bubble expire, and there are so many nades on the outside of it. Catalyst Wall is going to keep them safe for a little while, but they've got a mobile shield and a prayer keeping them alive. Furia are going to go down, pushing us to 5 squads left, and Envy play so quiet on the outside. Shadow 3690, wait for the game to come to them. TSM, wait for the chance to third party, and 100 Thieves jump in and out on Envy, not giving them a second of rest. 100 Thieves now finally starts to move in for these kills, finishing off Envy while TSM go down on the outside. Envy still alive though, still fighting for their chance in this lobby. Will finally fall as Dufay's clan, leaving us with 2 squads. 100 Thieves, and on the outside, it's Shadow who come in on the zip line, and Shadow who from the bottom of the leaderboard takes the victory in game number 3.
While we saw that whole action unfold on the bridge, the stalling from Envy was too long, and it kept the fight going for way too long, so that TSM and Shadow fought on the eastern side underneath the stairs, and it looks like Shadow actually won that fight. Waited for the fight up top to unfold. That one happened, and then they took their evac up on top, thirded the fight, closed out the game. Huge problem.
Is this the Shadow? Is this the Shadow that I've come to miss? We talked about FaZe maybe accumulating momentum here to see how far they could go, but Shadow 3690 began this whole series in 39th place out of 40 teams at this competition to find a win now, the day before group stages come to an end. In your last 4 games of the groups, this could be massive for them, whether they make it to winners or not. Finding themselves here, finding their essence at this point in the tournament could be just what they need to make a push for finals, whether it be from winners or losers.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, whether it be from winners or losers, its most important part is the fact that they can feel we are winning team fights now.
Yeah.
We are now closing out games.
Yeah.
When you get that into your head, things will start rolling, and that's exactly what they need. Shadows picking up 19 points, 100 Thieves 16, Envy 14, FaZe only 9 from having the God spot for the longest of time. I feel like they didn't pull like the trigger fast enough. They were waiting for other teams to collapse and fight on each other, but in my opinion, they should be forcing resources, forcing bubbles before they get to that stage to where they could. I think Envy extended that fight by at least 40 seconds.
Yeah. I think it's funny seeing these two sitting next to each other, because both, it's fair to say, we were critical of their passivity during the game, and both still managed to put up good placements, but could go so much further. Now, in the overall standings, this is where we are after 3 games, and it is big to know, as with 100 Thieves and our overall series results having 35 points, ExoClan come up behind them with 33, and Liquid Alienware are actually looking pretty good themselves. This was a make-or-break series. This is a make-or-break series for Liquid Alienware, so all they've got to do is keep this up.
For a lot of these teams, it is make or break, and it looks like EXO, Liquid Alienware, and potentially even 100 Thieves are sitting quite comfortably. And here's right here, I can see it all. A lot of these teams are actually kind of safe. Only a select few can climb past these guys, but we're only 3 games in, Dia. These leaderboards can shuffle real quick when we see certain teams have the success recently, like Shadows in this last game. What if that's the next team that's just on 82 and they put them down and everybody keeps fighting for that last top 20?
Yeah, I'm still looking at that 16th area where 100 Thieves are, is the still not quite safe zone where Liquid Alienware are coming up right on the bubble at 90, and Envy, with that conservative play, it seems to be working because it's pushed them up also right next to Liquid Alienware.
Never forget about Stallions and Oblivion as well. Both of those teams have shown signs of life, and they're on 78 and 75. Getting 25 points in 3 games could easily work for any of these teams if they just get the ball rolling.
Super doable, and there's a reason why, after hearing from both of those teams during the breaks, after hearing from Aberlele before the games, and then Blinkser in the middle of our matches, there's a reason why we're rooting for these teams as well. It means so much to them to be here. Their personal journeys are so invested in being able to succeed and to get the win in group stage, to be able to move on, which they are so close to, means the world to teams like Stallions, like Oblivion, and they've been doing a fantastic job so far today. I am wishing them luck for the second half of the matches in this series, Graceful. This has been an incredible 3 games, and we've got 3 more coming. But before we jump into those 3, I would love to hear from our wonderful analyst desk. So Rende, have a good time.
Thanks so much, Stia. Graceful, great job on the cast. I'd love to hear what they have to say as well. Welcome back to the desk for our halftime recap. My name's Rainday, Jayhawk, Snipe Down, and Jamerson here to talk shop. As we finish 3, fellas, we've got a lot of numbers now starting to twirl. Do you have what it takes to make your move? Because this is the moment. You look at Stallions, a few points away, maybe 20 or so, to even get into that. VK Gaming, staring, waiting, hoping no one gets past 94. It looks like it's going to happen. A lot of teams helpless to just sit and stand by, but a lot of teams still with their fate in their hands.
Absolutely, but it is getting scary because the one thing that I'm noticing is the current cutoff at 94 is already looking like it's going to be higher than we were maybe expecting.
Yes.
And this could be because a lot of players are getting respawned into the game, allowing for more people to get kill points. And so that threshold could be going up into the low 100s, and who knows where it goes after that.
I mean, do you feel confident, Snipe, at Green Stego? They're at 109 right now. They're watching this, but there's a lot of teams already at 102. I mean, VK 94, they look like they're going to get past. Furia has 99. Crazy Arcuna is 99. I mean, it's not unrealistic to think that 20 more points after 3 games could be threatened.
Yeah, I mean, we have 3 games left. We have about 4 teams from only North America, actually, that are right there on the fringe to make it. We talked about how day 1 with the average 35 points was 21st, so that was a 115-point cutoff if we had continued the scores that way.
Yeah.
So it's kind of insane to see where we're at, and it's because we don't have the Moist and the Alliances sucking up all the group stage points like we had at previous tournaments. It's
That's
more
right.
spread out. Falcons isn't dominating as much. We see the top of the leaderboard is very close, and the bottom of the leaderboard is very far at the bottom. So that middle of the pack is going to be